So I want to ask you a question. Are you prepared? So numbers look different to me now, and here's why. So I took a trip maybe a month or so ago, and like I had been planning the trip for probably like 6, 7 months. And before that, I used to think like numbers were just like, man, that's expensive, this and that. And I realized that all you have to do is prepare. And so I realized something. I'm like, you know what? And shout out to Expense Tracker. They are not a sponsor yet, but shout out to Expense Tracker. And here's the deal. They really are a sponsor because the app is so lit. That app helped me out. I was able to track every single expense on that trip that I took. And so I want to say I spent upwards of like $1,500 in just spending money. And I don't know what it was, but something told me like, yo, let's track these expenses. And so I need you to track your expenses going into the new year. Here's the deal. This was just a vacation, but in this new year, what I'm getting ready to start doing is I'm about to start tracking like every dime that I spend, because you're gonna spend money regardless of how much you say you want to save, how much you say you're not gonna spend. You're gonna spend whatever that you end up spending. And so I just want you to start tracking your expenses. I tracked every single expense that we spent. And it was so crazy because my wife was she's like started getting comfortable with it. Like my wife has high anxiety sometimes and like off the little stuff. So she's like, oh, okay, did you add that up? She asked me, like, oh, did you add that up? And it was making me feel good because most people have a hard time adjusting to like new habits. And so every time we spend something, we go to the Waffle House. So let me track that. Oh, okay, we bought a little souvenir, a little picture. Track that real quick. I'm talking about, it only took a couple minutes. The app was so simple. You put what the expense is. As a matter of fact, another thing it told you was your daily balance. So you know how much you're working with. So each day it has the category of the beginning balance, and every expense that you pay for, it subtracts from that original daily balance. And it shows you how much you have left to play with. And every day, man, I was just tracking my balance. And it just was like the most fulfilling feeling I've ever felt in my life, because I knew exactly how much money I was spending. Now, don't get me wrong, I was on vacation. Most people are like, yo, just kick back and chill. It's just like, no, everything can't always be about relaxation. Like, I grinded enough to get to the trip. Like, you don't want to grind and get to a certain place or space in life where you just give up. So yeah, I grinded. We had a nice vacation, but I still had a little bit of work to do. And it's just like, are you that lazy to not protect your legacy? Are you that lazy to know or to not know how much money you have coming in or going out? And I'm talking about, I was able to track every single expense. Now I did this with a vacation, and I said to myself, I'm like, you know what, man, going into this new year, I'm tracking every expense. And here's the deal. What I love about this is, miss a month, like eventually it's going to become a habit. I'm talking about on the trip, there would be a time where, let's just say, because it got to be work a little bit. Let's just say after maybe, I might track breakfast because we sitting there chilling, but like as we on the go at Disney, every single transaction, it would kind of get, I'll do that later. But I knew exactly how much I was spending because all I had to do was look at my debit card. And I just went back and did it. So I'm basically saying, you might go, well, what if I miss a month? Okay, pick back up at the next month. Like, don't get stuck on the perfection of tracking the expenses. Like, just track as you can, track as you go until you're able to consistently track. And it just becomes like life. Like, I'm not saying like be just so like app crazy, like, oh, I gotta track, I didn't track it and you just ruining your life. No, I'm basically just saying be responsible, like be a good steward. And then the numbers will start looking different to you too. And I'm not even tripping on numbers. Like, I realized that anything that I want in life is possible to have by making sure that I have enough, by being a good steward and just doing my due diligence. And it's possible. Like any trip, I'm realizing that you don't have to be like the richest person in the world. If you buy Lay's potato chips, I'm like, you know what? I don't want the Lay's this week. I don't want the Red Bulls this week. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to chill on the snacks. And also, you know what? Another thing that you can do is, let's just say you are buying the Lay's and the Red Bull. What you can do is, like, you know what? I'm noticing like I ain't necessarily the size that I want to be. And you realize like, yo, maybe I can cut back on these Red Bulls and chips. What you could do is you can see exactly how much money you spent from the category of snacks. Because you can label the categories. You can see how much snacks that you spend. You're like, you know what? I probably can go off of a portion of that. Cause I mean, don't totally deprive yourself, but don't just go crazy on just spending whatever it is that you want to spend without tracking. But I need you in this new year to start tracking your expenses. And this is really like the way to wealth. Like people just tracking your expenses. And here's the deal. I'll close with this. If you're a person who spend $5,000 a month, $4,000 a month, or let's just say $1,200 a month on nothing, at least track it. That way you can go, you know what? Shame on me. Shame on, I spent this much money this month. I'm not gonna do it again next month. But you won't be able to know how much money you spent on that garbage if you don't have it recorded. So I need you to start tracking your expenses and look it up. It's on the App Store. Expense tracker. And I mean, they got other apps, but that was the app that did me the most justice, and it was free. That's why I said they was a sponsor to me. It was an easy app, and it was easy to navigate. So do yourself a favor and track your expenses. And then you'll be able to pass go and collect your 200. Peace.